right, welcome to Math Today. We are moving on with measurement, but we're moving away from the customary measurements, okay? Now remember I told you yesterday, customary measurements, that's everything we've learned so far, and it's basically what the United States uses. Everywhere else in the world, you're going to use the metric system. And are you ready for the most exciting news? It's so easy. You are going to think, why don't we use this here? It is so easy compared to what we've been doing. You're going to like it. Okay, I promise. So the metric system is used all over the world. It's also used in science. Anytime you do scientific measurements, you are going to be using the metric system. So, are you ready?
No.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Today,
Yes.
all we're going to do today is work on measuring centimeters and millimeters to remind ourselves what those are. So those are the first units of the metric system we're learning. So, on your notes, everyone should have a notebook out. Friends at home, be taking notes either in a math notebook or on a piece of paper. This is what I would like you to write at the top. We're not going to write much. So first, you need to write metric.
Question.
One moment. Metric, units of measurement. And we will add more to this next week, but for today we only have one little thing to write down. We're going to write down the length units of the metric system. So you can write length. All right, remember, length is how long or short something is, right? You could measure the height of something, but that is still measuring length. So, length in the metric system, basically, we have 10 millimeters and 1 centimeter. 10 millimeters and 1 centimeter. Now, I've got this humongous ruler up here, but it's still going to be hard for you to see. And mine is not marked in millimeters. But a centimeter, I'll put my finger on it, is about as wide as this tip of my finger here. So everyone at home, that up to the 1, that is 1 centimeter. They are not very big, okay? So within every single centimeter, if you look at your ruler, there are 10 teeny tiny lines, which are called millimeters. So every single one of you, please look at your ruler and make sure you are able to see 1 centimeter and make sure you are able to see that there are 10 lines in between. Liam?
Do we have centimeters on here?
That was what we just talked about for a while. Everyone needed to tell me if they had centimeters on their ruler. All right.
Are centimeters these right here? These
So,
are long.
let me say it again. Find your centimeter side with the cm. It's not the inches. Make sure you can see a centimeter and make sure you can see the tiny millimeter lines. Can anyone not see that? No? Okay, good. So we all need to memorize there are 10 little tiny millimeters in 1 centimeter. All right, there's one more thing we need to learn. There are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. 100 centimeters and 1 meter. So finally, today is the day. I've been telling you all along, I don't have a yardstick, but this is a meter stick. A yardstick would be 36 inches long, so it would be cut off right here. So it's about the same length. But a meter stick is a little bit longer, and if I look on the side with centimeters, and I go all the way up, 50 is in the middle, 100's at the end. So this has 100 centimeters, so it is a meter, okay? So this is the length of a meter. All right, any questions on this information here? Okay. Now today what we are going to focus on is measuring with millimeters and centimeters. So you're actually going to be lining up your ruler along your objects on your paper. You're going to try to measure, okay? Of course I'm going to help you. So that is what we're doing today. So on this paper, and friends at home, this is kind of a hard lesson for you to participate in. So do your best to listen. If you've got a whiteboard, you could make your own shapes and try to measure them yourself. Okay? So we're just going to try to do our best today. All right. Up at the top, number 1, and I'm going to have to go to the back. So I hope, friends, you can hear me. It says measure the length to the nearest centimeter and millimeter. So we've got an earthworm. So everyone, grab your ruler. We need our centimeter side to be up so you can read. remember, is that lined up really nicely there?
No.
Okay, someone raise your hand. What's wrong with how I lined that up? Angie?
It's crooked.
It's crooked, okay? You have to do better than that. Okay, how about that?
Yes. No.
Ooh, let's raise our hand. Zoe, why is that wrong?
It's not at the zero.
Okay, so remember, if you want to be accurate, you have to line up the zero line. Some of you, it's the end of your ruler. For me, I have a 0 line. So if we line that up and make it straight, we can kind of see. First of all, this is hard to see up here. Not inches, centimeters. What whole number do we go all the way past? What whole centimeter number? Hayden?
6.
Yeah, you guys see how we went past the 6, right? So my centimeter I'm going to write, and I know my answer blank's not right here, I'll just put it here. We have 6 centimeters. Do we have a little bit extra past the 6?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just, you have to be really good at counting tiny lines. And as long as you're like 1 or 2 away from what the answer is, I'll usually count it. How many millimeters do we go past the 6? Chloe? Yeah, I'd say 1 or 2. Okay, so you can say 6 centimeters and 2 millimeters. So that can go on your answer line underneath the earthworm. The earthworm is 6 centimeters and 2 millimeters long. All right, I'm going to erase some of this. Right, now we're going to check out the salamander. All right, let me write my answer real quick. This was 6 centimeters and 2 millimeters.
Where can you find salamanders?
All right, a salamander. Shh, we are in math right now. We are not learning. Salamander, we need to line up our ruler. Okay, now he's not really a straight line, so you're just going to do your best to line it up with his head and look to the end of his tail. All right. So first of all, I'm saying that I do go past the whole number. What whole centimeter number do I go past?
4.
4. So the first thing I need to write is my 4. I have 4 centimeters, and then I do believe I've got a little extra. All right, who thinks they can count up how many millimeters it goes past? Emma?
1/2.
Oh yeah, it goes 1/2 of the way to 5. So how many millimeters would that be? Remember, we have got 10 millimeters between the 4 and the 5. So if we're halfway there, how many millimeters have we gone?
5.
5. Nice job. So we have 4 centimeters and 5 millimeters. That is the length of that salamander in the metric system. Alright. We've got an earthworm, or an inchworm actually, and caterpillar.
How many
So let's-
millimeters? 5.
Alright, so let's go ahead and look at the inchworm. Major lines for us, okay? We don't have to measure that curve. That's impossible with a ruler. So if you line up your 0, how many whole centimeters have we passed? Josiah?
2.
2. So first thing, we need to write 2 whole centimeters. Right now we need to see how many millimeters we have extra. Alright. Any ideas? Dylan?
6 millimeters.
That's what I got. It was just a little bit past halfway. 2 centimeters and 6 millimeters. Alright.
Wait, where are we?
Where are we? We're going in order. We're just on number 3 now.
I don't see how it was I don't see how it was 6. Yeah, me too. I think it's 7.
Okay, let's raise our hands. Can someone raise your hand and ask your question? Okay, Madeline, thank you.
I don't get how it could be 6 because it's by the 3 and not by the 6.
Alright, well, I'm going to look again, so everyone look carefully up the corner. Alright, when I line this line up with the end of that line, and I look over here, alright, let me walk up here so I can point it out. We said we passed the 2 centimeter line, right? Does everyone see that? We're past the 2. We're not all the way to 3 yet. So 2 centimeters first. Should we put a marker here? Okay, we've passed 2 centimeters right here. So it has to start with 2 centimeters. Now, when I count my millimeters, literally I'm just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can count 6 millimeter lines. So it's 2 centimeters and 6 millimeters. Does that clear that up for you, Madeline? Okay. Okay, whoops. So let's move down to the next section. I will let you find the length of that last critter on your own. The next section is a little bit different. This time, we still have things to measure. However, this time, they want us first to measure it in only centimeters, and then measure it in only millimeters. Okay.
Question.
Yes.
How long is the salamander?
Okay, let's backtrack in a little bit because we need to keep moving on. We're going on. Alright, so we're on number 5, so everyone please join me on number 5. If you're working ahead or behind, you're losing pace. Alright, when we measure this guy, first let's measure in centimeters. You see, we need to do both. So in centimeters, about how long is this fella? We're going to round to the nearest whole centimeter. So the line is in between the 3 and the 4. So which centimeter is it closest to? Josiah?
The 4.
The 4. So if we're rounding to the nearest centimeter, it is 4 centimeters long. Okay, now we need to measure it in millimeters. So go ahead and line it up. Do I need to count every single line? Or do I have like a faster trick? Does anyone have an idea?
Oh gosh.
Abby, what's your strategy?
So every centimeter has 10 millimeters in it. You can just count how many centimeters.
Alright, so we can kind of skip count by tens or do multiplication. So we know we're past the 3. So we can say we already have 30 millimeters. Does that make sense to everyone so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if I have 30 millimeters already, now I need to add up the ones that go past the 3. So Noah, how many millimeters do you see that it goes past the 3?
7.
7. All right, I would agree with that. It looks like 2 lines past the halfway. So I know I've got 30 millimeters plus the 7 more. So I have 37 millimeters. All right, now I will let someone choose. We will either do number 6 or number 7 together. Chloe, which one?
Where did we get 30?
All right, so the 30 came from when we looked at that insect. We were thinking, well, we need to measure it in millimeters. But we noticed that it passes the 3 completely. So we knew if we had 3 centimeters, that equaled 30 millimeters, right? Because there's 10 millimeters inside a centimeter. You could have just counted them all. So here's another way to think about it. You could say, all right, so here's 1 centimeter, that's 10 millimeters, right? So that's 10. That's another 10, right? So we're up to 20. That's another 10 millimeters. We're up to 30. And then we can go on 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. If you don't like that thinking, you could literally count every line. Okay? That's going to take a while. I think you'll get the hang of it. But I could count and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and so on. If you kept counting every single line, you would get to 37. Okay? So all we did with the 30, we said we know each group of centimeter is 10. So this is 10, 20, 30, and then we counted on till the line. Angie?
Do you count these big lines right here
In the middle?
for the millimeters?
Yes, that long line is just helpful to show you that you're halfway to the next centimeter. Okay, so the long line we know is 5.
I
Josiah?
think we should do 7.
Okay, let's do number 7, which is the snake. Number 7. So everyone get yourself ready. Line up your ruler along that snake. Okay, they drew lines for us, so you can just line up your ruler with those lines. Alright, so the first thing, let's measure in centimeters first. To the closest centimeter, how long is that snake? Abby?
4
14. We're almost to the 14, so that is closest. So 14 centimeters is our closest estimate for that way. All right, now they want more specific. They want it in millimeters. Okay, so I'll be honest. I don't want to count every single millimeter mark. That would take us a long time. So let's think this through. If I know each centimeter has 10 millimeters inside of it, and do you guys think that lands pretty much exactly at 14.5 halfway?
What's 14.5?
Well, 14, I'm sorry,
half.
14 and a half. I think it lines up right with that long line you were just talking about. Is that what you see, Angie?
No, because I put it where it is. Well, I don't really know how to explain. Mine lined up 6.
Okay. So wherever you are, it's pretty close, right? Remember, I won't count you off if you're 1 or 2 off.
Mine just landed on it or something like that.
Okay. So everyone that was confused about where the 30 came from in the last problem, pay close attention. Eyes up here. Eyes up here. You're not paying attention. All right. So I am absolutely not going to count every single tiny line all the way to here. That just takes way too long. We have strategies for this. How many full centimeters have I passed with my snake completely? Hayden?
14.
Yeah, I've completely passed 14. I'm not to 15, so I can't say 15. But he's at least 14 centimeters long. Do I know how many millimeters are in 1 centimeter? More than 2 people should know this. We just wrote it in our notes. It's just a memorized type fact. Emma? How many millimeters in 1 centimeter? 10. Thank you for remembering. So if I have 14 centimeters and 10 millimeters are inside each one, what math equation can I use? Abby? 10 times 14. I have 14 centimeters. Each centimeter has 10 millimeters. So that means I have 140 millimeters. Is that all of my millimeters? No. No, I have a few more, right? So either 5 or 6 is what we've decided. I think now that I can really look, it is a little closer to 6. So we just have to add on 6 more millimeters, and that's how long it is in millimeters. 146.
Where'd you get the 6?
So we got to the 14. You followed to there, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then once we were at the 14, the snake's a little bit longer, right? Not a whole nother centimeter, but we could count there are 6 little lines before the snake ends. So we just needed to add on 6 more millimeters to get our total. All right, any other questions at this point? Noah?
Number 6 is confusing.
Number 6 is confusing.
Because of the wings. I don't know where to line it up at.
All right, well, if you want to, here, this is what I would do. I do want to use my cool new ruler, so here we go. All right, if I line this up, okay, just kind of best I can, you could, like, draw a line like the other ones have had, okay? That might help. So if you draw lines, then you can measure from line to line.
One wing's bigger than the other one.
Yeah,
What do you
it's
do
all right.
with the millimeters? 146?
Uh-huh. That was for the snake. Okay, let's go down to the bottom and do one more example at the bottom. Then you all have time to come back and check on that block. Okay, down at the very bottom, we've got a grasshopper. And it says, what is the best estimate for the length of the grasshopper? All right. Now, I don't know if all of you know the size of a grasshopper, so I will come up here to show you. A grasshopper is bigger than your thumb usually, okay? Maybe about the size of your thumb or a little bigger. So with that in mind, would 5 millimeters be a good measurement of a grasshopper? Picture what 5 millimeters would look like in your head or look at your ruler. Hayden, what do you think?
No.
No, 5 millimeters is half a centimeter. That might describe an ant, right? But not a grasshopper. So we can go ahead and cross off A. That won't work. All right. Then B says 40 centimeters. All right. Look at your ruler. How many centimeters fit on a ruler?
40.
Emma? Go for it. Sorry, I was distracted. 40. So if you have a grasshopper as long as your ruler, that would work, but I hope there are not grasshoppers as long as a ruler.
It's probably spiders.
I don't know.
Okay, it just depends on what you got. Okay, on C, we've got 5 centimeters. Could be. Okay, so let's put a little star here. What about 40 millimeters?
No.
Think about what that actually means. Noah?
Yeah, this could be.
It could be, how many centimeters is 40 millimeters?
How many centimeters is 40 millimeters? 4.
Uh-huh. So I'm going to write that here too, so we can think about it both ways. So 4 or 5 centimeters, those are very similar, okay? So, you know what, I was thinking they wanted us to actually think about a real grasshopper, but now that we have such close measurements, we know it's one of them. I think they do actually want us to measure the grasshopper, okay? So use your ruler, see if that grasshopper is closer to 4 or 5 centimeters. Liam?
It's 40.
Okay, check with your ruler. Check with your ruler.
Yeah. It's closer to 4.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah, I'm finding the same thing.
It's closer to 4. Yeah.
So, I think D has to be our best answer. Okay, does it make sense why neither of these made any sense? Yeah, that's way too small or way too big. Noah?
5 centimeters on mine is closer. So what do we do with the C?
You sure? When I checked it, 5 centimeters would have put me like over here.
I had 5 mil. Oh yeah. Yeah. It
Okay.
It's 4.
Okay. Let me do one more on this paper.
We did the problem so.
Okay, let's flip our paper over. Alright, you might also see things like this, okay? On a problem like this where they give you a ruler, do you have to put your own ruler up there and measure it?
No.
No, you can use the ruler they give you, okay? I just want to make that clear. You might see problems online on different practice programs and things. If they give you a ruler, go ahead and use theirs. Obviously down here at the bottom, you are going to have to use your own ruler, okay? So let's do one together. Either 3, 4, or 5. I'll let someone choose. Cadence? 5. Alright, so everyone's zeroing on number 5. Alright, I'm going to line up my ruler, but look down here. They're wanting to the nearest centimeter, and they want to the nearest millimeter. So let's do centimeters first. Alright, I'm going to line up right along the top of that marker tip. Make sure it's even.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Look at it all. It's 11.
Okay. So first, we need to figure out to the nearest centimeter, how long is that marker? So to the nearest centimeter, which centimeter is it closest to? Zoe? 11. So you can't see my answer blank, but it is closest to 11 centimeters. And now we need to know, shh, please come in the room quietly, guys. We need to know to the closest millimeter, how far. So we know we've gone past 11. So first thought, we need to know how many millimeters are in 11 centimeters. Angie?
Not about that, but I think it's 2.
Like we go past 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's right. So we've got 2 extra millimeters from right here. But we need to know how many millimeters all the rest of that is. Do we need to go count every single line?
No.
Oh, that would be terrible. Noah, what can we do instead?
11 would be 110, and then you'd count your millimeters and then add that to 110.
Okay, how'd you get 110? Because you're right.
Because each of those are 10, and 10 times 11 is 110.
Okay, so we had 11 complete centimeters. We know within each centimeter we have 10 millimeters. So 11 times 10. Remember the 0 trick. If you don't know that math fact, cover the 0. 11 times 1 is 11. Tack the 0 back on. This is one of our most missed math facts, which is kind of silly. I know it gets a little confusing, but remember, anything times 10, you just put a 0 on the end. Okay? All right, So we have 110 millimeters all the way to here. Angie told us we had 2 more to add on. So 110 plus 2 would equal 112.
I don't get very much. I just thought it was 2 millimeters. I thought it
Okay,
was
shh. We're all talking out. That's not how class works. All right, we will have to come back to this in a little bit because we have to take our break to go to special. All right, thank you all for joining us today. I hope you were able to follow along. I know this is hard to do without being in class, so thank you for doing your best.